All right, last thing I want to talk about is the Milwaukee Bucks, down 3-1 after losing Game 4 at Indiana. But the big story coming out of that game is Damian Lillard, who suffered a season-ending Achilles tear, just a brutal injury. I mean, most injuries in today's NBA are recoverable, but the Achilles tear is arguably the longest it takes to recover of these injuries that have been around for a while. It is effectively a year-long recovery period, which means it's unlikely that we see Damian Lillard play for the Bucks next season. If we do, it'll be very late, and he won't be Damian Lillard at that point. I texted with him briefly. He's already got a positive attitude. He said, "I'll be back." So there's a lot of, I'm expecting him at some point to come back. But the reality is, Rachel, that this injury should and probably will change the calculus of the front office. We saw John Horst get a long-term extension. That's great. He did a fantastic job with the Bucks. But if I'm John Horst, I'm sitting down with Wes Edens and I'm sitting down with that ownership group, and I'm just kind of having a hard conversation because, there's no replacing Dame, right? There's nobody sitting there waiting in the wings that you can replace him with. There's also no wiggle room to either trade for somebody that can provide comparable production or sign somebody that might be able to fill in that gap. You're looking at and I'm just making this name up, the campaign types that could be available on the free agent market that could step in and be serviceable, but not get you on the same level of Boston or Cleveland or New York. Look, I know people in Milwaukee, they hate, people hate these conversations sometimes. Why is it always a trade? But, Giannis is 30 years old. Next year is already effectively lost. I mean, let's be real. It's already lost. If Dame's out for the entire year, it's done. What do you think the conversation is going to be like? I mean, what's your thoughts on where the Bucks go from here and what kind of conversation they have to have this summer?
In my opinion, this is completely with Giannis in the driver's seat. Giannis is 30 years old. He is one of the most elite players we have seen in this era. He should probably have more in his MVP cabinet than he does. He has said on his brother's podcast, I feel like the kind of career I have put together won't be complete unless I'm a multi-time champion. So we know that he has that desire. That being said, if I am Milwaukee and Giannis does not come to me and say he wants to leave, I am not going to him. I am not going to do it. Because no matter what happens to, as you pointed out, even if they get a great return for Giannis Antetokounmpo compared to say what Dallas got for Luka, I don't think they will be a winning championship level basketball team for a very long time. You have Damian Lillard on your books. You don't have draft picks right now. Even what you get back with what you get back with Giannis, if you trade Giannis, wouldn't put you in some sort of multi-Oklahoma City type pick situation. You would just be sort of starting to get back whole. And you are not a free agent destination, especially if Giannis leaves. So you are looking at a dark period ahead of you regardless. If I am ownership, I would like that dark period to happen with Giannis Antetokounmpo still to sell tickets for me, to have him still be a championship level guy who can turn the lights on any particular night and make magic happen, even if it doesn't end up in a title. They went decades and decades between Kareem and Giannis with nothing and no one in between. There was a lot of wilderness there. And I don't think they want to voluntarily put themselves in that position again any quicker than they need to. Is Giannis going to come to them now this summer and say, I'd like to get out? Maybe. I didn't think he was going to without Dame hurt. I thought that they had 3 successive postseasons with injury problems. The franchise had done what he asked them to do, which was go out and get Dame. And my thought was he wanted to give it another year to try to see if he and Lillard could really pull this off. Now that that is off the table, I don't know what Giannis is going to do. I don't think people around the NBA would blame him either way. But if I'm Milwaukee, I get it, man. You can't win with him going forward, but you also can't win without him going forward. And at least right now you have Giannis on your roster. So I'm not picking up the phone. I'm waiting for him to come to me. That's just my opinion. Maybe that's burying my head in the sand, but I'm not doing it.
Rachel, I admire you. I respect you. And I completely disagree with you. That is a Phoenix Suns type attitude. That is a Sacramento Kings type attitude. That is the attitude that is going to get you
insults
in play-in territory for however long it takes for Giannis to get pissed off at you. The end is coming in Milwaukee. It's just a reality. It's coming.
Okay, so do the other version for me. Do the trade Giannis version for me where it's better.
Very easily.
Okay.
Let's say they go out this week, give the team the weekend off.
Sure.
Call Giannis's agents, call Giannis on Monday and say, look, Dame is gone.
Beautiful.
We don't have the we can't pull the Houdinis of Drew Holiday and Damian Lillard out of our hat anymore because of all we've invested to build that championship team that we won. We're so grateful for the 10 plus years you've spent with us, but both of us have to go our separate ways. Both of us have to go. And after that, I would call Rafael Stone, I would call Sam Presti, and I would let them both know first that this guy is going on the block. And then I would make sure that I get the greatest haul in basketball history for one of the greatest, still in his prime players, still an MVP caliber player in basketball history. I think that is the responsible thing to do. And being honest, I think it's irresponsible not to do it. Because right now you've got these two teams out there.
To the franchise or to Giannis or
to the franchise?
Fans?
To the franchise. Because right now you've got Houston about to go out, right? And they're going to be looking around going, we don't got it. Like, we're missing something. Oklahoma City just swept through Memphis. But if they go out in the second round or even the conference finals and a player like Giannis is on the table and they've got more draft picks than they can ever possibly use, ever. They can't use these guys. They've got Nikola Topic coming back next year. Like, when I go to Oklahoma City, I hear about how good that guy is going to be. Nikola Topic. He's the guy that's going to be the next guy they bring up through the ranks. If some combination of Jalen Williams, Isaiah Hartenstein, and a gazillion draft picks gets it done, that's a deal I would make if I was Oklahoma City, and that's a deal I would make if I was Milwaukee. I'm going to, just to stretch this even further, like Jalen Williams, I'm not saying he's going to be James Harden, but Oklahoma City people will tell you that if this guy was all on his own, he'd be putting up bigger numbers than he is right now. He would be close to a 30-point per game guy, maybe averaging close to double digits.
And where does that get you? Maybe this is the Eastern Conference and it gets you past the play-in.
It gets you nowhere. It gets you nowhere. But Jalen Williams is what
the reality with Giannis. I just want to make sure we're comparing apples to apples. And by the way, most basketball people agree with you. I am really speaking from a sentimentalist point of view and the point of view of not every team wins every year. So what is actually best for the fan experience in the building? And is that having Giannis in front of you? So please understand that's where I'm coming from. However, I do want to do apples to apples. So if Giannis sticks around, and I'm not really sure I expect him to, but if Giannis sticks around and you're saying, yeah, man, in a weak East, they could be a play-in or first-round team for the foreseeable future. That is obviously a waste of Giannis's talents, but some could make that argument about Dirk and Dallas for years. And B, not obviously what your goal is as a franchise. But if that's what we're looking at for the next 2 or 3, whatever many years with Giannis, if he sticks around, how different is that from what you're proposing? Play in first round.
Because it changes the trajectory of your team, right? Like, if you swap out Jalen Williams for Giannis, you're going to be worse. But Jalen Williams is 22, 23 at the oldest. Like, you have a long, long runway to have Jalen Williams develop into your alpha. And while you're doing that, you've got 5 first-round picks, 6 first-round picks, courtesy of Oklahoma City, that are not just their picks, by the way. They're other people's picks that they're going to be having. That you
better be someone else's picks.
Has to be. I agree. We agree on that one. We agree on that one. But you have a whole bunch of picks, and you can start to rebuild this thing in a proper way. You say, like, you're talking about from a fan's perspective. Like, is any fan in Phoenix happy right now? Like, are they happy? Like, they've got their guy Devin Booker, not to compare him to Giannis,
I'm not gonna let you compare this to Phoenix or Sacramento because neither of those teams has Giannis Antetokounmpo. Neither of those teams has a guy who has won a title there. B could have won the MVP this year, by the way. Could have in a different competition, different year, could have won it. Is an MVP caliber player who is beloved in that city in the way we have seen only a very few times in this particular era of the NBA where guys switch around so often. And I just want to know if, look, and part of this is a fatalist perspective. I grew up in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. has not made a conference finals since 1979. I just want you to let it sink in how long ago that was. Milwaukee went through a very, very long period without making conference finals and finals, without, even when they did have some good teams, not being the kind of team that had a Giannis level, we can win a title player on it. And I just want to think about, even if you're pushing the ball 3 years forward, if yes, in 3 years, you won't be as set up as you will under your plan with all these first round picks, is it going to result in making the conference finals or finals? And if you're telling me probably not, I'm telling you that there is at least an opinion out there. There is a route, if he wanted to, if Giannis wanted to stay, of the more sentimental version of, I like going to see this team. I like going to see Giannis Antetokounmpo play in Milwaukee. I like having his name on my back of my son's jersey. I like that he's willing to stick it out and stay for us here in Wisconsin. I'm happier with that first round exit than I am with a first round exit with Jalen Williams and a bunch of draft picks. And I hope in 5 years they're better than they are now, because none of those draft picks, odds are, will develop into Giannis Antetokounmpo. Not one of them. And so therefore, you just have to decide, how quickly do you want to get back to being good but not great, as opposed to being good but meh, but having Giannis?
I would never want to be meh and have Giannis. Two things I would say to this. I won't bring Boston to this because I always like to do the Danny Ainge stuff, but I'm going to leave that.
You can't. That's not a realistic. You can't.
I agree. But how about a more, maybe a better example? Oklahoma City, when they dealt away Paul George and Russell Westbrook. Yes. The capital they got back and the player that they got back, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
But by the way, that was a ransom opportunity also.
So is this. This is a ransom opportunity. How is it not?
I think that look, all of this also, by the way, depends on the deal they get offered. Sam Presti, yes, has picks to spare. And yes, Giannis is a transcendent player. And yes, it's possible he will finally open the storehouse in a way that he has not as of yet. It's possible if they say, look, there's no question. You say, make me an offer I can't refuse. And by the way, whether they make that phone call or not to the Rockets and to the Thunder, those two teams will make them an offer. They will make them their best offer for Giannis because everyone wants Giannis. If the offer really is a quote Godfather offer, sure, you take it. And Giannis wants to move on and all of that stuff. But if it's not that level, if it is not, hey, we're offering you a ridiculous amount, Oklahoma City, from the Clippers because we're really getting 2 for 1 with Paul George and Kawhi, and we're paying you for Kawhi even though you don't have Kawhi on your roster. If it's not Danny Ainge, I have performed voodoo magic on you, and therefore you will listen and repeat everything I say as I hypnotize you over the phone. If it is not one of those kinds of deals, I just think it is a slightly different conversation. And by the way, we are having, and I trust that people listening and watching will understand, we are having a now theoretical basketball discussion. Of course, if Giannis wants to leave, and it's more than likely that he will at some point look at this situation and say, I want to leave, he will leave, and they will get the best deal they can for him, and that's how they will go forward. I'm not suggesting that is not what is going to happen. I am just saying that we are so quick to pull the trigger in this league on how am I going to rebuild? How am I going to rebuild? How am I going to rebuild? And I think we have to remember that a lot of teams don't even sniff the title. They don't get close to it. When was the last time was Dwight Howard finals? Was the last time Orlando was in there? When was the last time Charlotte was in there as a franchise? I mean, it has been a long time for a lot of
Can't bring Charlotte
teams.
into this. Don't bring Charlotte into this.
Well, I'm going to tell
Charlotte
Milwaukee.
never.
Let's bring Milwaukee's past into this. Let's bring Washington, D.C.'s past into this. There's a lot of teams around the league who, just because they sat there and rebuilt, didn't mean that they got any further than the second round.
But you're also, Rachel, you're also comparing eras too. Like in the past, big market teams had these huge advantages. So they could just sign guys, blow through the cap, spend their way to championships. Nowadays, smart teams who do smart deals have a leg up on building a championship team. Like the playing field has been leveled. I mean, look at Houston. Where were they like 3-4 years ago? I mean, James Harden in the proverbial fat suit working his way out of town. They make that deal. They get all those picks.
I agree. And now Houston is about to get bounced in the first round.
Yes, but you just sang a song about how this is house money or found money here.
I know.
No. Look, I just... I guess we're arguing.
That you and I will be talking in a couple years about a Milwaukee Bucks team that doesn't have Giannis on it.
And you keep bridging. You call it theoretical, which right now it is. But come Monday, it shouldn't be. It should
No,
not
you're
be
right.
theoretical on Monday morning.
You're right.
Like, there needs to be a come to Jesus moment between the Bucks front office and Giannis Antetokounmpo and his team about the realities of where they are. Like, this is who we are. We can't replace this guy, and he's gone for the rest of the year.
Let's see what they get offered. I just think that for people who have lived in cities that are not Boston with its golden God bless you from God hand, Chris Mannix.
What about Oklahoma City? That was a God bless you deal.
What about Oklahoma City? By the way, oh, come on. You are not painting Oklahoma City as this poor franchise that has never had any success. Oklahoma City that was in the finals in what year? That franchise had been in that city?
Yeah. But then they had they had to rebuild, and then they rebuilt again.
Excuse me? And then got like an incredible 2-for-1 in a way that like you could never have expected until Luka Doncic lands in the Lakers' lap. I mean, that had previously been the, oh my God, how did that even happen to that team heist prior to this one? I just want to stand up and say somewhere on the record that there are franchises in this league who have not sniffed the conference or finals, much less winning a title level of the NBA in decades. And then having a transcendent star like Giannis Antetokounmpo, who comes in literally once in a lifetime. The last one was Kareem, which was a whole 2-3 generations back. You have to be a little thoughtful about, before we just get rid of them and rebuild and hope we're a second and third round team 5 years from now. What are you giving up? What are you getting? And I think all of this is academic, because I do think at some point Giannis will come to them and say, hey, I want to go win a title somewhere, and it just can't happen now. And everyone will wish him well. But I just think there is a larger, big picture question mark. And I'm going to come with a list next time, Chris, of teams that haven't even sniffed the third level down of success. Not title, not finals, not conference finals in a decade plus. And what it feels like to be a fan of those teams and have nothing and no hope and no star.
You know what feels worse? You know what feels worse? The first round. That's Loser Town. Loser Town, USA. Loser Town.
I really don't think it does.
First round exits.
Okay, all right. We're gonna put out like a poll.
That's
or
why.
something.
And again, I know people hate it when I do this. You're starting to hate it when I do this. When I bring up Danny Ainge, but he gets to Utah and he's like, you know what? We're not very good. We are a mid first round type of team. So let's just move Donovan Mitchell. Let's move Rudy Gobert. Let's get all these draft picks back in return and see if it pays off. It hasn't paid off yet. They're still very much in the dump and crossing their fingers, hoping Cooper Flag comes their way. But that's the philosophy.
Let's see what happens in Utah. No, it's a good question. Let's see what happens in Utah. Let's see how long it takes.
It is, but to kind of bring it full circle, it is kind of academic because I think it's either this summer or next summer where Giannis is extension eligible. He's not going to sign an extension. Like he's not going to do it. Like he's pretty much made that clear. If I can't win, I'm not going to tie myself to a situation. So if I'd have to wish we had Bobby Marks here on speed dial to remind me of who was and when was extension eligible, whether it's this summer or next summer, and maybe it is next summer. If he says no extension, you have to trade him. He's got 2 full years left of his contract plus the option year. You've got to trade him. And my thing is that right now, the Thunder had the Clippers, right? The Clippers were desperate. They had to get Kawhi. Kawhi wasn't coming unless they got one other guy with them. They found a desperate team. Well, what aroma are you getting off of Houston this summer? Like, what level of desperation are they going to show? Like, is Oklahoma City going to go, you know what? Shea won MVP. We got to do right by him. Let's go all in. We can't use all these draft picks. Let's go Jalen Williams, Isaiah Hartenstein, 5 first-round picks. If they put that on the table and Milwaukee doesn't take it, you should riot in Milwaukee. Riot. Because Jalen Williams is awesome. Like, Jalen Williams is the next star in the NBA. If you don't take that deal of Jalen Williams and 5 first-round draft picks, riot. I don't think they're coming any better than that in Milwaukee. That is your Oklahoma City, Houston rebuilding package. And then you need your front office to come through. It all comes down to the front office drafting well, drafting the Jalen Williams at number 12 overall, drafting Amen Thompson, number 4 overall. Like, you got to hit on these draft picks. And one of the reasons they're in this mess... Yeah, well, one of the reasons Milwaukee's in this mess right now is they haven't hit on these picks the last few years. Like, they have not found young players to fill in the gaps in ways that other teams ultimately have. I would be proactive this summer, and I'm sure I'll get.
You and I both know that's what's going to happen. But I also, I guess I'm going to come up with next week. I'm coming up with a list. Is it better to be a team that makes the playoffs, loses in the first or second round, or be a team that never gets there ever? Because we're very sad.
Great. And next week I'm going to hand you your season ticket package to the Phoenix Suns next year. So because you're so excited about first round-ish types of teams and what they bring to a city, I will bring you a
Are you
package
charging
right
me
there.
both of my dollars for that?
Yes.